Good morning, true crime friends. How y'all doing? Listen, we still talking about James Craig today. Honey, how did this man think he was going to get away with this? For the life of me, I do not understand how he thought he was going to get away with this crime. It's ridiculous. We're going to get into it. But first, you know what you need to do. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share out this madness that I call a YouTube channel. That helps other people find us. Me and you, we're going to get to 30,000 subscribers together. Now listen, these videos all come with a little bit of a disclaimer. This is not the news. I know it's shocking that a channel called Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo is not the news. I'm not Reuters. I am the town gossip. Hi, my name is Kathy, in case you're new here. Now look, if you want facts on this case, like FACTS facts, that's not what we do here. My fact partner for this case is Lauren Matthias over there at the Hidden True Crime. So if you want to know what actually happened on trial day 8, go see Lauren over at the Hidden True Crime. Child, you want the quick and dirty. Just watch. This is my part 6 of the state of Colorado versus Jimmy Waffles. I call him Jimmy Waffles because that was his screen name or something on one of these, like, nasty oochie coochie websites. So on day 8 of trial, Sugar Baby number 3 takes the stand. Not to be confused with Sugar Baby number 1 or Sugar Baby number 2. He was hiring women to diddle his kibbles and bits. Nasty. With a wife at home. She would have diddled you for free. Oh no, but you want to trick up the family money on this lady. Okay, anyway. So Sugar Baby number 3 gets on the stand and she's just like, hey, how you doing? Can we make this quick? I don't have time for this. So she met Jimmy Waffles down there on Seeking Arrangement, which is one of these, if you're a sugar daddy and you want a sugar baby, you go on Seeking Arrangements and you make an arrangement. And in this case, the arrangement initially was just for them to meet for lunch. Oh, okay. In addition to getting a burger and fries, did she also get some cash? Or was that just like a courtesy pre-meeting? I don't understand how this works. Also, I'm not a sugar baby or a sugar mama, so I would have no reason to know. Anyway, so according to this lady, they did not have a platonic, just friendship relationship. The full diddlation was going on. She was doing stuff to him. He was doing stuff for her. I've seen him. And to that, I say, ew, you let him touch you. Oh, but it was for a whole lot of cash. Okay, girl, do what you got to do. So they decided to go on a Montana ski trip. And she's like, skiing, you say? Oh, I love skiing. So they over there on the ski trip in Montana, having a lovely time. And James gets a call. He's like, bling, bling. Oh, will you give me a second? I'm just going to step out and take this call. He steps out and takes the call, and he's gone for 90 minutes. That is so rude. But also, if you're getting paid for your time either way, she's just like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to ski today because he's been gone for an hour and a half. How she didn't leave at that point, I will never know. But if she's charging by the hour, I know she was like, you could be gone for 3.5 hours. I really do not care. Anyway, he came back and he was like, hey, listen, Sugar Baby number 3. This trip is officially over. My wife has found out. I'm so sorry that you don't get to diddle my kibbles and bits no more. And she was just like, oh, thank Jesus. Anyway, I mean, I assume that's what she said. But she was like, okay, so your wife knows, but this still was not free. My time is not free. He gave her $8,000 for the inconvenience. $8,000, you say? You can inconvenience me. Now, you can't be touching on me and stuff, but you can inconvenience me for $8,000, please and thank you. And so then the defense gets up there with their cross-examination, and they were like, he sent you flowers, didn't he? He sent her flowers, therefore she's not supposed to testify truthfully about his level of triflingness? Okay, where are you going with the he sent you flowers situation? And then the defense team was like, he was talking about a deeper relationship though, wasn't he? He hired this lady for $8,000, but he's talking about a deeper relationship. She was trying to have a deeper relationship with his credit card, maybe some cash and some gift cards, but I know she was not trying to have a deeper relationship with this Mama Luke. This sugar baby really earned my respect when the defense team was like, he was talking about a deeper relationship, and she was just like, no. Y'all, when your paid escort gets the ick from you, you know it's not going good. And they were like, but he's really nice. She was just like, he was coming on too strong, talking about, oh, me and you forever and ever. And she's like, it was too much for me. It really turned me off. So no, I was not trying to have anything more with him. Gentlemen of the world, please know that for like an average woman, if on date one, if you're talking about love and marriage and baby and a baby carriage, that's not going to go good for you. As an aside, I once dated a dude who at the end of the second date was like, when two people love each other, I was like, you could be talking about me and you. Are you speaking theoretically? Because me and you, no. I'm in love with that free meal you just bought me. But anyway, so Sugar Baby 2 gets off the stand. Then Angela's brother, Mark, takes the stand. And I was like, family members. It's always tough when the family members take the stand, but also that's where all the good tea lives. So I was here for it. So Angie's brother Mark gets up there and he's like strong. He knows what he's going to say. He's there to defend the honor of his sister against that scumbag that's sitting over there at the defense table. He's a scumbag who is innocent unless he's proven guilty. But I have already prejudged the case. Anyway, so Mark gets up there and he was just like, Angie was strong. She was bright. She loved being a mother. She was not reckless. She was not out here playing a game of chicken with her life or whatever. She was not manipulative and she was not trying to unfortunately unalive herself. And I was like, yes, Mark, let the audience know. The jury no. And then the state was like, was she trying to unfortunately unalive herself? And so Mark is like, the only person who said she was out here trying to self-harm was her scumbag of a husband. To which the defense is like, objection. And he keeps telling truths. My client's gonna be convicted. So objection on the grounds of truth. I don't remember what the objection was on the ground of, but I feel like it should have been on the grounds of truth. So anyway, Mark goes on. Angie was worried. She was sick and she didn't really fully understand why she was sick. And so she was always, on the Googler trying to figure out like, dear Dr. Google, why do I have these symptoms? Whatever. She was very concerned. She was not trying to leave this mortal coil. She was trying to stay here and love on her children. She was even loving that bag of snot over there. But that's not what he said. That's just what I feel in my spirit. And so Mark said that he and his wife, once they found out Angie was sick, they came to town to help. You see, Angie was homeschooling the two youngest children, and she couldn't do that if she's so sick she can barely stand up. So when Mark and his wife came to town, Mark was taking care of Angie, and Mark's wife was helping the girls with their homeschooling. And they were like, okay, this is going well. Angie started to improve. Y'all. Then James, her husband, came home. Jimmy Craig, Jimmy Waffles, came home. I was like, oh, Angela, let me help set up your blood pressure machine and everything. Let's make sure everything is nice and safe for you. Okay, go on and sit down. I remade the bed, the soft sheets that you really like. Here's a shake that I made for you. Have some of this shake. Y'all know this shake was loaded with poison. He's terrible. He also wrote her a prescription. Now, if she already had doctors, why she need him writing her a prescription? Anyway, and so he's like, I gave you this prescription. It's for what we think might be your sinus infection. It's going to help you right up. These are capsules. He filled them capsules with something deadly. I don't know what it was because I'm not a scientist. See, also, I'm still just a gossip. But, he filled those capsules with something really, really terrible. And then he's like, okay, Mark and Mark's wife, I know y'all taking care of my beloved wife, Ange. Ooh, girl, I hope you get her better. Mwah. And then she kissed him. Could she feel like the essence of other woman on his lips? I feel like the essence of other woman was on his lips. Anyway, so he's just like, okay, I'm going to go to work because, I have to make money because, I've done run my business into the ground. I got to go, go over there to my dental practice, Miles of Smiles or whatever it was called. And I'm going to help some kids have some bright, shiny smiles, but you just stay here and rest up. And so she was like, okay, thank you. Had herself a cup of tea, a little bowl of oatmeal, something like that, because she wasn't feeling good. Meanwhile, Jimmy Waffles is texting over to his brother-in-law. Don't forget to give Ange her pills. You real super sus, dude. So the brother was like, of course. I have these not deadly at all capsules that you left here on the bedside table. We will make sure that Angie takes her pills. So Angie takes her pills, and then a few minutes later, she crashes and is taken to the hospital. And I was like, this is terrible. And so they call up Jimmy Waffles. Hey, Jimmy, listen, she was doing okay, but now she's on the way to the hospital. And so James was like, why are you taking her to the hospital? Sir, so she can live. I know that's not really your type of thing, but we really, really want her to be alive. So James was like, oh, I'm going to rush over to the hospital as well. So Ange goes to the hospital, and then James shows up at the hospital and is like, hey, I brought you some Jimmy John's or some sort of sandwich or whatever. You sure that sandwich wasn't poisoned too? And he was just like, okay, I'm here with my wife. You can leave. You don't have to go, but yeah, I'm here now. So I'm skedaddle, get on out of here. So he sort of shoos the brother away. How come Ange couldn't have two visitors? I don't, This boy is super duper sus. Please hold on. Talk my throat dry. So he shoos the brother away from the hospital. The brother is only halfway back to the house where he gets a phone call. Oh, Ange has crashed again. Okay, Jimmy Waffles. So the brother comes back to the hospital and is like, oh my goodness, my sister, I'm so worried. We don't know what's wrong with her health. And James is just like, oh yeah, I don't know either. I need to stretch. And then he goes for a little walk and disappears for hours. Sir, you're really, really not good at this. Like, not good at all. We found out later that when he disappeared from the hospital for hours, he went to see Karen Kane, the other woman that he had fly into town for a little visit or whatever. Your wife is maybe breathing her last, and you over here hugged up with another woman. You're terrible. Anyway. So while James is missing, friends and family start coming to the hospital. The bishop comes to the hospital. Ryan Redford, James's business partner, comes to the hospital. And then James comes back, right? Ryan Redford, the business partner, if you will recall, he's the one who got the phone call from the nosy receptionist that was like, hey, Jimmy done had some poison delivered to the hospital, but don't tell nobody I told you by click, right? So James Redford comes to the hospital and was like, excuse me, nurse. James had some very deadly poison delivered to our dental office, and we don't use deadly poisons in dentistry. So you might want to check this out. We think he might be trying to unalive his wife. He's a terrible human being. I always thought that about him, but now I have all the proof. Okay, we're not here to talk about my business practices and my evil thoughts about him, but you want to check him out. And the nurse was like, oh, poison, you say? Okay. So they start doing an investigation and they start giving like the poison antidote to Angela, hoping it will revive her. But her brain had already gone off to the endless heaven buffet. It was terrible. Her body was still here and they were able to keep her alive for a little bit longer. But they're like, we're going to have the kids in to say their final goodbyes to their sweet, sweet mother. And they were devastated. It was a terrible situation. Meanwhile, James is annoyed. What, sir? What? This is wrong emotion for this setting. He's annoyed that the kids are not able to go in and say goodbye right away because they're trying to save her life. Sir, where you have poisoned her. And so everybody was just like, why are you mad though? I don't understand. Why are you mad? Why are you mad? And he was just like, I just want my children to be able to say their goodbyes. Also, I got a mistress on ice over here. If you could just hurry this up, if you could take the kids back home, then I could go diddle the kibbles and bits of the nice lady that I have fly in from Texas. And so, Mark, the brother-in-law, was like, Jimmy, I think maybe the delay, the holdup is because your business partner, Ryan, done spilled all the tea to the doctors and the nurses and stuff. He said that you probably poisoned her. Now I'm looking at you crazy. And James was like, what? I can't believe. Oh, wait, where did Ryan go? My business partner who knows my dirty, dirty secrets. Let me go and I just need to take a walk for a minute. So he takes a walk. That's when he's going and calls Ryan and it's like, what did you do? Why are you telling people that I poisoned her? That is going to keep me from getting close to my mistress. We talked about that phone call in a previous part of this case. Anyway, so James is gone for a long, long time. He's so sus and bad at crime. Anyway, so back at the house, so Mark is like taking the very weeping, sad kids back to the house. And they're like, wait. Why is this police tape all around the house? It was police tape all around the house because the police were already like, oh, this Jimmy Waffles, he over here, he done unfortunately unalived his wife. We need to search every single thing. And so they are not able to stay in the house that night. So Mark takes the kids over to a friend's house. It's one of them little ward members. This is a nice LDS family. Somebody from the ward or the church or the stake. I'm not sure how Mormonism works. Was just like, come and stay with us and let us love on you. Because those LDS folks, they real super duper nice. The regular ones, not the unalive ones. Not the murdery ones, but the regular ones. The funeral potato Mormons. Very, very lovely people. Anyway. So when Mark finally gets a chance to talk to James, he was like, you disappeared for a long time, a couple of times. Where did you go? He was like, oh, I just had to clear my head and go for a drive. over to my mistress's house so she could diddle me. That's not what he said, but that's kind of what happened. Although this mistress didn't know that he was busy unaliving his wife. So maybe she diddled him, maybe she didn't. Maybe they just did like over the clothes stuff. I don't know. I was not there. Anyway, on the cross-examination, the defense team gets up and I was like, defense, what in the world could you possibly say to this man who has lost his beloved sister? And so the defense team was like, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. And so he was just like, you're a close-knit family, right? The whole family was close-knit. And Mark was like, yes, we were a very close-knit and loving family until your scumbag of a client unalived my sister. That's not what he said, but that's what was running through his head, because that's what would have been running through my head. And he was just like, you're LDS, right? Why are you bringing this man's religion into it? What does that have to do with anything? The LDS church does not allow you to, unfortunately, unalive people. That's not a thing. And so he was just like, but so you believe families are eternal? Look, defense team, clearly y'all are not LDS. What I feel like y'all are saying is that even if he shuffled her off this mortal coil to the endless heaven buffet, you just gonna see her later in the key lime section at the buffet. And no, they wanted to see her right here, right now in this incarnation. And Mark was like, yeah, I'm LDS, and we believe families are eternal, but only if you do the right things. You can't just be shuffling people off the mortal coil and expect to see them later. That's not a thing, because he going to the deep, dark inner city of hell. I mean, I feel like that's what he was thinking in his mind. That's not what he said on the stand. What he said on the stand is, if you keep your covenants and do all the things you're supposed to do, then your family is eternal. Him, we're not going to see him no more. He's not going to be in the same section of heaven that we going to be in. He not going to be in heaven at all. Anyway, so then the jury had questions. Oh, I love it when the jury has questions. Now, look, please know the jury never asks what I want them to ask. I would be like, how much did you hate him? How soon did you suspect him? Was you looking at him crazy? Did he always look this dumpy and crazy? Was he always a scumbag? Or is he a scumbag come lately? I'm not sure. Anyway, so the jury is like, did Ange ever mention divorce? I was like, oh, jury, that is also a good question. And Mark was like, she never mentioned divorce. She loved that mama look. We still trying to figure out why. And then they were like, okay. And then the medication that James had her take, was it a pill or was it a capsule? Because we all know, we have watched CSI. You know, you can dump out the stuff on capsules and scoop in some poison. I don't know how it works. How do you put them capsules back together? Anyway, do you have to tape them? I have questions. Anyway, so he was just like, it was capsules. I don't know how to put poison in capsules, but Jimmy Waffles clearly does. Anyway, so, wait, the vitamin shop has that capsule maker thing. Okay, y'all know my brain wonders. Anyway, the next witness on the stand was Renee, who is Mark's wife, Ange's sister-in-law, right? So she's like, Ange got sick. We came to town to help. And when James said, give Ange her medication, we gave her the medication. We thought we were helping. We thought we were helping my sister-in-law get better so that she could live happily ever after and raise her kids. And see, also, she loved being a mom. And she was just like, the one thing that struck me strange is when Ange got sick and we took her to the hospital, old Jimmy Waffles over there was really, really upset. And they were like, upset, you say? She was like, He was like, why don't you just leave her at home to die in peace? Why don't you leave her at home so she can rest? She doesn't need to go to the hospital. Sir, yes, hospitals are not that restful, but you know what else they have? Poison antidotes, nurses, doctors, the ability to investigate your evil deeds. Oh, we see why you didn't want her to go to the hospital. But at the time, your story was, she needs to rest. I can't stand this dude. Anyway, next on the stand was Tony. That's Ange's sister, also her BFF. There's a 13-year age difference between Tony and Angela, but they were still really, really close. And they got married around the same time. They had kids around the same time. Their lives were very similar. And Tony, just like all the other people who knew Ange well, was like, she was not a risk taker. She loved being a mom. She loved her life. No, she was not manipulative. She was not trying to, unfortunately, unalive herself. Here's the thing that I had not counted on. Ange had told her sister Tony about an affair that she caught James in like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, really? She was just like, One day my sister called me crying hysterical. And I was like, girl, what is wrong? And she's like, oh my goodness, I found out he's been having an affair for 6 months and I didn't know anything about it. I never suspected a thing. prove he's crafty and disgusting. And she's like, she was real upset and she wasn't sure what she was going to do. And then the next day she calmed down and she's like, okay, I've decided to stay. Really? Okay. They were going to stay and work on their marriage and everything, which, okay. People have affairs, I guess. And she decided to work things through. She's a deeply religious woman. She wanted to keep her family together. Who can fault somebody for wanting to keep their family together? But then shortly after the affair, James slipped her a Mickey and something to make her sleep. But then she woke up. He was trying to give her the endless sleep. And she shared this with her sister. Tony, girl, you are a better sister than me. You're probably a better human than me, because I would have showed up at her house with my good whacking shovel and we would have taken care of old James. I'm not saying that I would have done any violence to him. He would not have been safe. I'm just going to tell you that much. So Ange was like, no, okay. We're going to work this through. Yes, he lightly drugged me, but that was because he wanted to harm himself and he didn't want me to wake up and stop him from harming himself. Where's the proof he tried to harm himself? Was there pills? Was there a gun? Was there a knife? Was there poison? What proof was there? I would need all kinds of proof. Sir, you have already admitted to cheating. You've already admitted that you a whole scumbag. Now you just expect me to believe, oh yeah, you accidentally drugged me because you wanted to harm yourself. You could have just harmed yourself. You could just go on out in the car. There's a whole bunch of ways you could have done that. Ain't have nothing to do with me. Anyway, so Tony goes on to explain. James had several more affairs later. And Ange was like, I am going to leave. I'm going to leave after Christmas. And then later she's just like, you know what? I changed my mind. We're working through it. Huh? Girl, see also, you need a good whacking shovel. Look, pull that Easy Pass out of your car, rent yourself a car in somebody else's name, borrow a friend's car, drive from one town to the next. I'm not helping nobody plan crimes. What I'm saying is that watching as much true crime as I watch, you figure some things out. Tony girl, call me. Anyway, so Ange went to visit Tony. They had a lovely time. Angie was full of life and they were doing all kinds of like ancestry, whatever, because our LDS friends, they will research your whole family tree and do the whole thing. So they were super duper into family history and they were making like family trees and little family bushes and all the things. And Ange came home and she called her sister like, hey girl, I think I have a little bit of a sinus infection. I'm not feeling good. And so Tony was like, oh, well, let me know how it goes. I just started a new job. Otherwise I would come and help you, but you just keep me up to date. And then a couple days later, Ange calls and she's like, maybe it's something more than this. Maybe it's diabetes. I don't know what's happening in my body, but something good is not happening and we have to figure it out. And Angie was just like, yeah, my relationship with, Jimmy Waffles over here, it's a real roller coaster, but we're trying to stick it out. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to get better. And I was like, okay. See also, Tony, good whacking shovel. Anyway, so after Ange passed away, terrible. Tony was just like, she was just like, oh my goodness. She was looking through some of Angie's papers, going through like all the ancestry stuff. And she's like, oh, what is this? My sister's journal. Wait, my brother Mark is telling me that Jimmy Waffles over there was purchasing poisoning and stuff. Oh, okay, cool. Hello. Hello, police. Here's her journal. You might want to read this because I think it's going to have all the evidence in the world against this Mama Lou. So then the jury had another question. And I was like, oh, jury, are you finally going to ask the questions that I want to know? How come she didn't get a good whacking shovel? Does she know that if you bury the hole deep enough and sprinkle some lime on him or lie on him, that it helped? Okay, never mind. The jury had questions like the sinus medication that she was taking. I was like, oh, okay. They were like, the sinus medication that she normally took, was it pills or was it capsules? And Tony was like, she normally took pills, like the pills on a card, like a Z-Pack. Not capsules like her no good husband was giving her. And I was like, okay, thank you so much for your questions, jury. And then this investigator got on the stand and I was like, okay, investigator, tell me every single thing. The investigator was like, we have a program called Nighthawk and it takes all the different data, right? Like your car data, your phone data, your text, everything, and layers it all together and makes like a timeline. And I was like, oh, like a Churchwell chart? You have a whole dude who does nothing but make Churchwell charts. Oh, the way I love a Churchwell chart. Anyway, so he's just like, So we looked at all of James's stuff. We downloaded everything, and we can see that he was searching for poisons at work while Ange was at home. Remember, James's story is that those were not my searches. Those were Angie's searches. Sir, we can see from all your data that this Nighthawk has downloaded that you were at work looking for the poison, and Angie was at home trying to teach her kids long division or whatever she was doing over there at the homeschool situation. It's also revealed that James was a multitasker. That would be good if he weren't pure evil. But in his multitasking, he was texting his wife and his mistress at the same time while searching for poisons. Sir, you are the worst kind of multitasker known to man. And then while Angie was in the hospital, James jumped in his little car and drove over to the poison depot. Now, I don't think that's what they called it, but the place where they sell the poison, when he was over at the back dock, like, hey, I'm here in my scrubs to pick up some poison. And they were like, sir, no, that's not a thing. He went down to the poison depot, couldn't get the poison. They were like, we have to mail you the deadly weapons. We can't just give them to you in your car. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he drove over to the Piggly Wiggly, some grocery store or whatever, and bought a whole bunch of Visine. I'm still trying to figure out how people figured out, like, what is the serving size of Visine that will take you off the mortal coil, but I don't really know who was doing that research. Anyway, so Ange is in the hospital. James is running around here, there, and everywhere. He's at the grocery store. He's back at the dental office. He's back at home. He's going to diddle the kibbles and bits of a lovely lady. Meanwhile, Ange is just sick. She's laying in the hospital trying to get better. And he's like going here, there, and everywhere, gathering up all his poisons so he can do his evil deeds. Allegedly? Do we still have to say allegedly if we're really, really convinced that he's just like an evil Mama Luke and he's going to burn in hell? He's going to hell with gasoline draws on. The jury's going to convict him in like 3 hot seconds. Why did this even come to trial? I'm just asking. Anyway, and so the defense team gets up. Defense team, I see that y'all are doing the best that you can. And this is a bad situation. Your client has given you absolutely nothing to work with. At this point, I'm starting to feel bad for his defense team. I know the defense team also has the ick. They like, ew. Do you really have to sit next to me? Because they have already got up there and they were like, James is a horrible human being. We can't stand the sight of him either. But we are here to defend him and say maybe he didn't do it. I think that's the whole defense. That's been the whole defense so far. Anyway, the defense team gets up and it's like cell phone data. And the investigator was like, They're like, it's not really like reliable though, right? And the cell phone dude was like, Is that a real question? And the defense team was like, right. I mean, I know it like tracks you wherever you go. And if you mention anything, it's listening and everything. It knows everything, every single thing about your life. It probably can also read your mind, but it's not like accurate, right? And the cell phone dude was like, yeah, it's real accurate. Real accurate. You see, it had him multitasking and doing all these things. It's super accurate. Have you never seen CSI? You never seen like Law and Order, nothing like that? It's real accurate. Everybody knows that. And they were like, okay, no more questions, Your Honor. This is the case. This is what we're doing. Jimmy Waffles. Jimmy, boy, why you needed a plea. Now, you're crazy enough to think that you could have a wife, a mistress, go to the poison depot, go to the supermarket, keep your cell phone on. You didn't even have a secret squirrel phone. You just doing all of this and you're not going to get caught. If you thought that was a good plan, I can see why you think taking this whole thing to trial was a good plan. You are not that bright. And for that, I am eternally grateful. I hope you and Bubba enjoy the prison prom and we never have to see you again when this is all over. In the meantime, I'm going to keep watching this trial. We're going to see what happens. Listen, y'all stay safe out there, and I will see you next crime. Bye.